Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NJ Multi-Species Podcast with Joe Santiago and Chris Pereira. I
Uh,
just have to start off by really thanking everyone for I don't even know what to call it, Chris, at the outpouring. I mean, the support was unbelievable.
yeah, just real great support, more than I was expecting just to get started for sure.
I was shocked. I went and bought a microphone. Here it is. It's like a ball. It takes up half the screen. I don't even
Yeah,
like it, but I
yeah,
did
you
buy a microphone
probably
because I did not expect such a reaction to the episode like that.
yeah. So I mean, you probably should have bought one that looked less like a robot ball sack, but it's fine.
Well, the producer just told me I look like Elmer Fudd 3 seconds before the show started,
I know.
so
I wish.
I'm
Yeah, I
uncomfortable
wish you
already.
recorded that.
That's why. Yeah, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. But yeah, really, just Lake Hopatcong Guide Service. So many people, man. I can't even name them all. John Gabarini, Kevin Cool, so many people that just share. The one thing we do have to do is people have to start to like our Facebook page. They're viewing it, they're viewing the podcast, but they're not subscribing and they're not liking the YouTube Facebook page. Getting likes on the Facebook page is extremely difficult to do. So
Oh, I mean,
if people could hit the subscribe button and hit the like button on Facebook, that's what helps us the most.
right? I mean, if they like it, if they
If you
don't,
like it, if you don't like it, just change it and put something else on. I don't even like this, and I wouldn't watch it either. I don't blame you. But sincerely, thank you to everyone. John Dorn, so many people. Just we
he
kind of
has
threw
he
we
Joe
kind
has Joe has all the mirrors in his house covered up so he doesn't have to look at himself.
yeah, but we kind of threw this out there, and we never expected that it would just have such an outpouring, so many emails, just overwhelming. So I went and bought a microphone. Chris has some new headphones. So every time you like something or we get more subscribers, we'll get a new piece of equipment, and eventually this will be better, right, Chris?
Oh yeah, for sure. I already had these headphones. I just chose not to use them last time because I was just winging it. And as you can see, I'm still just sitting in the corner of an empty room. So maybe the
The,
more subscribers we get, I'll hang some stuff on my wall.
Dwayne said it looks like you're sitting on a toilet in a bathroom.
I refuse to comment on that.
Okay. Well, what are you going to start with this week's weekly New Jersey fishing news? Now, what do you know as far as rumors in this Merrill Creek hour change that everyone seems to be talking about, but no one can prove?
So, I mean, I don't want to push this out there any more than it is if it's not true.
It's out there
But
enough
basic,
already. I've heard it
yeah, I
a
mean,
couple of places,
I,
but it
we've
seems
been
to be
trying.
no one can
Right,
confirm it for anybody.
right. So supposedly there was supposed to be some kind of vote or meeting proposing that the regular sunrise to sunset hours of Merrill Creek Reservoir environment conservation area, whatever you want to call it, uh, to be changed from sunrise to sunset to a later opening time and a much earlier closing time around 4 o'clock permanently, which is ridiculous. We've been trying to find out if this is true before it's too late. So basically, we're trying to contact people. We got guys in there, guys who hunt there, guys who knows someone, and we haven't been able to confirm or deny any of this completely. So we're going to keep an eye on it. But the way I look at it, it's better to be safe than sorry, right? The worst case scenario, if people know about this and they contact the Merrill Creek office over there, then at least they know people care enough that they're going to stand up if something like this was ever attempted, even if it's not currently.
Well, the rumor is that the reason for this is the residents around the area are complaining because people that are in line waiting for the gate to open are making way too much noise and they don't like it anymore. They're complaining. So fishermen, remember when you're waiting on a residential street and there's houses there waiting for a lake to open, try to keep the noise down and don't be littering because that's how shit like this happens.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's just common
And
sense.
it's
You want to be
usually one
courteous.
it's one asshole that ruins it for everyone else.
Right. I mean, that's just common sense. But let's think about it for a second. So they're claiming that they're going to close it at 4 o'clock because people are noisy in the morning. Does that make sense? That
Well,
right
now
there
they
makes
said
like
now they're talking about open at 7. No?
well, yeah, the opening later, but still even like you know, uh, just ban people from waiting there. Like, tell me you can't come and wait on this street before a certain time. Ban the contest's early start time, so you can't start a contest till whatever time. It's just it doesn't make any sense. But just because it doesn't make any sense doesn't mean it's not true and they're not trying it. I mean, we got to just we're keeping an eye on it. We've got all our feelers out there and stuff, and trying to confirm or deny it. And like I said, I'm not going to be the one to
You're a rumor monger now.
Yeah, I don't want to. I'm trying to
Merrill
avoid
Creek's
being a rumor
closing.
monk.
I saw it on a podcast. Merrill Creek's closing. Chris Carrera told me.
Like I said, worst case scenario, if it's not going to happen and people think it might happen, then at least they know that people are willing to stand up for the bullshit like this.
You are right again. Did you read the email? Did you read the email that we got from the guy from South Jersey? We got an email from a guy from South Jersey. He thought that in the first episode that we disrespected Bass and we disrespected South Jersey somehow, and I just wanted to apologize to him because if anybody got that impression, I wasn't trying to do that at all. Neither was.
Well, I mean, you did say that you hated largemouth bass and you don't want to fish for them ever.
I didn't say I hated them. I just said I didn't want to fish for them really too much. And I don't even
you threw me into that. You said we don't like to fish for. I like to fish for largemouth bass.
I don't ever go out of my house to specifically target largemouth bass.
Yeah, I will. Maybe not as much as other species, probably.
I mean, I will too. I mean, that would have to be. There's nothing else on planet Earth to go for.
All right, so you're doing it again. You're just digging and digging your hole. You just apologized to those largemouth bass fishermen, and then just start digging a hole again.
All right,
now you're hiding behind your robot microphone.
I tried to pretend to like bass, and I can't do it. I just can't do it. I can't. They make me sick. Chris, be the bass guy.
Right. Listen, in all seriousness, we have a lot of species up here. It's one of the things I love about this state, but it's pretty much, going south, you get to the point where they, can't successfully stock a lot of these cold water species and whatnot. And the northern half of the state has just a great variety of fish. Down south, they have largemouth bass, pickerel, they have panfish, and then, they have the invasive snakehead and the native bowfin, Joe. And, that's pretty much it, I think. Freshwater-wise.
They'd have some really good pickerel fishing. The pickerel fishing's phenomenal down there.
Their pickerel fishing and their largemouth bass fishing is definitely better than we have up here, for sure.
And their largemouth bass are longer. They grow longer. We get the short, fat ones. They get the long ones.
It's almost might as well be a different species of bass. I mean, I bet you if you did like a genetic test on a bass from South Jersey and a bass from North Jersey, there'd be some major differences. I don't even think they're really the same fish. Even they act differently. They have, we'll have to have someone from South Jersey that fishes for largemouth bass and pickerel. We'll have them on because I don't go down there that often, and if I do, it's to target snakeheads usually or bowfin, which I've been unsuccessful at.
I was just kidding, but I just wanted to bust the guy's chops a little bit, take a poke at him. But yeah, everything. I'm not bashing anyone for anything that they do. If you like fishing, you like fishing.
No, you can't. When it comes to fishing, that's the greatest part about it. You can literally take or leave any little aspect of it and turn it into whatever you really want it to be. There's an infinite amount of ways you can modify it, things you can do, not do. Like you can modify fishing to be exactly what you want it to be. If you want just a relaxing, chill out hobby, and you go buy some worms and a bobber and you throw some worms on a hook and you toss it out into a pond and you sit there in a chair and you catch some fish like that every once in a while, and that's what brings you joy, then that's what fishing is to you. That's it. If it's walking for a million miles in the woods, like, Justin Lerner, and I'm trying to keep up and I'm begging him to stop. I'm begging him to just fish one hole. Like, let's fish this hole. I'm tired of walking. But he's got to find that giant trout, right? He's got to find that giant trout. He'll talk. We're going to have him on later and he's going to tell you guys about it. And it's crazy. I fished with him and it's just, he just takes it to another level. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to talk to him. I am excited to ask him some questions. Actually, could we bring him on right now? Like, let's just bring on Lerner. Get him in here.
Let's do it. All right, so our guest this week is my buddy, former New Jersey trout maniac that defected to Florida, Justin Lerner.
What's up,
What's up, bud?
How's it going, everybody?
All right.
Man,
how's the weather down there?
Actually, it got a little bit cool. It's like been 70 during the day and down to like 50 at night. But
oh yeah, wow. I didn't get the ice fish in New Jersey this year, so
yeah.
I'm not allowed to talk about it. All right, we're just gonna move on. So, dude, before you've been living in Florida for a while now. Before you did, correct me if I'm wrong, but trout was your favorite species to target in New Jersey, as far as I could tell.
Yeah, very, very much so. In any of the Northeast states, pretty much my favorite freshwater fish. I loved exploring rivers and going back to places where nobody else had been and just catching big trout on light line in fast water. It just, to me, was the best.
Yeah, man.
How far would you used to walk, Justin, when you were looking for a new trout spot?
Miles, whatever it took.
You would just keep going.
Yeah, some days, and it gets like that because every time there were many trips when I'd be walking and I'd say, okay, well, this next bend of the river is it for me. And then you get to that bend and then you look and you see the next bend in the river and that looks pretty good. And you're like, okay, well, that one's the next one. And sure enough, you're miles and miles from where you had thought that you were going to end the trip. But that was one of the things I love to do is just, you got your waders, you got an ultralight rod, a box of lures, and just walk and explore.
Yeah, honestly, I know a lot of trout fishermen. I'm a trout fisherman. I know a lot of people that catch nice fish, but if everyone just cuts around the bullshit, I don't know anyone that consistently put up fish the way you did, especially species that aren't even being stocked by the state. And you caught a brown trout over 31. It was 31 inches?
30.
30 inches. That's just unbelievable. And in the same day, you also caught what? Another.
A 24 and a 30.
See, to be consistently able to put up fish like that, and it wasn't like you threw one picture up of a trout and said, "Oh, I got a nice one." This was all the time. Quick trip after work. People are seeing all this shit all the time. They're getting mad. You have a lot of fans and you have a lot of haters. A lot of people think you're trespassing. A lot of people think you are in a club. A lot of people don't know what's going on or how you're able to pull this off. If you could, I know that I know the truth. Chris knows the truth. How can you explain yourself to them? How do you do this without cheating?
Well,
do fish swim, Justin? Do fish swim? Can they go wherever they want?
They do. Joe, first of all, thank you for the kind words. It's like anything else. A lot of guys go to the same spot, easy places to access year after year, doing the same thing and expecting different results. There's a lot of great water out there, and really there is no substitute for time. I put a lot of time into my trout fishing and did a lot of exploring, and that really makes the difference. Each river can be, there's similarities between rivers, but there's also differences. And the more time you spend on a particular river, you learn the conditions that these big fish feed heavily. A lot of times the big fish aren't feeding heavily, but certain conditions will prime them for that. And a lot of times when I saw that those conditions were coming up, or I knew based on a forecast that the certain river was going to be prime, I went and hit it. But there's really no substitute for actual time on the water and just being willing to explore. I mean, a lot of people think, oh, big trout don't exist in Jersey, and that's their thought process. They go to the same stocked spots over and over again and, fish them for a few weeks out of the year and, don't see results. But that's not, it really takes putting a lot of time in there and going off the beaten path, because, a lot of times you're not going to see fish like that in those easy access spots.
I mean, I can vouch for a lot of this. I mean, I fished with Justin a lot when he was here. We did a lot of exploring together. And there's a lot of times where he just wanted to keep going. And I just remember sitting there like, this spot looks pretty good. Can we, I think I'm going to fish here for a little bit. I don't want to walk anymore right now. And he would just keep going. He would just find spots by just exploring more. And I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I'm fishing right there with him, and he just seemed to take it to the next level. He's always there, always there.
What kind of line, Justin, do you throw for trout?
I used to use 4. I upped it to 6, depending.
Mono?
I throw fluoro, so I love Berkeley Vanish. That's pretty much all I use.
Really?
It's the only reel that I have that's exclusively spooled with mono, because in the winter when it gets cold, obviously braid can be a pain. You can get a lot of freezing with braid, and I'm constantly cutting and retying lures. So having to tie a leader on there and then cut it back and then retie a leader, I just went with just straight Berkeley Vanish. That's my favorite. And I've tried other lines and found that they weren't as abrasion resistant, and I always came back to the Vanish.
Yeah, it's a good line for sure. When you mentioned before the conditions that you were looking for, you don't have to get any more specific than you want to, but we did have an email with some questions, and one of the questions that someone wanted to know is what conditions do you look for specifically? Is there any kind of condition where, like, if you see this condition, you're gonna wait a day, or you're gonna try to get there the day before you think this condition is gonna happen, whether it be high water, low water, some kind of pressure change or whatnot?
Yeah, so I mean, more or less higher than normal flows. And by spending time on rivers, it really depends on the river, how high you can fish it, obviously, what would be considered high, because rivers are all different sizes and different flows. So, I mean, I keep an app on my phone that has conditions at various rivers. And after you get a rain or snow melt, you can watch and see, they update it hourly a lot of times, and you can see how the river's behaving, if it's rising, falling, and based on that, you make the decision on which river you fish. Because the more and more time you spend out there, the more and more you figure out what flows work for what river. And I mean, in general, higher water means more aggressive trout. Low clear water can be good for certain types of fly fishing, but those
You don't
fish,
like fly fishing, Justin, at all?
it's
God, you walked right into that one.
all right. I fly fished a bit. I've caught a lot of different species in fresh and salt water on the fly rod. I don't like the feel of it. It feels to me like I'm fighting the fish with a giant rubber band. I like the direct connection. I got, my ultralight's a little 5'2", 5.5 foot rod. Ultralight. I love that trout slamming that lure and just peeling the drag down the river. And a lot of times, I mean, fly fishing is obviously an art, and it's a method you pick because you want to use that method. It's not necessarily always the most productive, even with trout. When you think about it, if you're going in a small river, and trout for the most part, can be very wary, and you want to be very stealthy with your approach. If you're fishing a tiny stream, that might not be any more than 10 feet wide, I mean, you're going to be able to present that bait way easier and way better with an ultralight than you would be with a fly rod. You don't have any of that line management. You don't have, your floating line, which I have no doubt in certain conditions, the floating line must cast a shadow and spook fish. But it's, when you're fishing super overgrown areas and spots that are difficult to get to, where the water might be small, an ultralight, in my opinion, is going to be the most effective way to present that bait.
So you're just a hater. You're a straight up hater.
I don't.
No. You know what? I think he just doesn't think it's a good idea to do like an old school ribbon dance over the trout before you're trying to catch them.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going up to the Salmon River, if you're going up to the bigger tributaries with, plenty of space for a back cast, it's a lot easier. And don't get me wrong, I mean, there are fly guys that go and fish these tiny, tight creeks, and they do well, but it's far more difficult, and you can get a much more stealthy approach with just the ultralight.
Oh, it's more difficult. It's like handicapping yourself almost.
Yeah, but that's why I say, I mean, it's an art. I mean,
Yeah.
people that are into fly fishing love fly fishing. I tried it. It just, it wasn't a method that I really enjoyed. So, I mean, to each their own. Plenty of guys, will say, okay, well, spin fishing with artificial lures for trout is cheating or whatever, but it's what I enjoy.
No, it's not cheating.
I
It's
mean,
just a different style.
yeah, I mean, I'm out there to catch fish, right? I mean, like, to each their own. I'll never hate on someone for fly fishing, but I will hate on someone for hating on spin fishing because they're a fly fisherman. Like, it's crazy. It's like if your goal is to just make this as hard as possible, why stop at just fly? Like, if that's why you're doing it, why stop there? Wear a blindfold and tie one of your hands behind your back while you're fishing too. Make it even harder. I don't get
it. To a person like me, it's worth it to get the fish on the fly rod, but it's so frustrating.
Because you want to do it. You're not doing it just because it makes you feel like a better fisherman.
No, I just like fly fishing. I like tying flies, and I like fly fishing. I don't know, but I have.
Oh, that's great. I mean, I dabble in it too.
All the bigger trout I've caught in my life have been on the spinning rod. Like, I've never caught big ones really on the fly rod.
I will say this. I mean, Justin probably agree with me. some places outside in New Jersey, like in some of these spots in Pennsylvania and definitely upstate New York, you can actually get an advantage fly fishing in certain situations. But in New Jersey, I don't know. I just don't feel like
It
that's
takes
true.
over mid-May and June. Fly rod takes over when the hatches break out.
Okay.
I mean,
So
it also depends on your goal. So my goals became targeting the biggest fish. And, a lot of guys want to go out there and catch a lot of fish. And during those hatches, obviously matching the hatch, you're going to catch good numbers. For me, I would rather go out, fish all day to catch one giant trout than catch 20 smaller trout. And especially with browns, they're super aggressive predators and they'll always eat larger imitations too. Even during, I fished areas during hatches where, the fish were going nuts on the surface, and I could always catch a few nice sized browns throwing lures on spin because they're just that aggressive. You're not going to catch the numbers, but it just depends what your goals are. And for me, it became a trophy hunt. I wanted to fish all day for that trout over 20 inches. And more specifically, I love catching rainbows. I love catching any species of trout, but the browns were it for me. So I would fish, I'd rather fish all day for one giant than, catch numbers. And again, comes back to whatever your personal goals are, whatever makes you happy. Some guys are happy just stopping at a pool on the road and, catching a bunch of 10, 12-inch browns. And that's great. If that's what you like, awesome.
And do you like to toss like a lot of the commercialized stuff like trout magnets and Rapalas, or do you have some secret shoebox of something that nobody knows about?
No, they're all, it's
what you're using is readily available to everyone.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And it's
learning. No secret. He's not tying a little tail of his cat's hair on the end of
We have emails from people that have questions for him.
Sure.
Hey, well, real quick, Joe, before he gets Justin, just real quick question from me. If me and Joe went trout fishing at a river that we were both unfamiliar with, him fly fishing and me spin fishing just a couple of days ago, who do you think would come out on top?
Oh, I'm guessing with the question it was you, Chris.
Not by much.
No, it wasn't by much. The fishing was pretty bad, but Joe has all the video and he refuses to release it. Refuses.
There is no video. Right. I have video of one wild rainbow being caught and one being lost. There's nothing to release.
I lost two more. I had two more fish.
Not when you were near me.
Oh, okay. I was fishing the holes that you already fished.
I missed those fish. Nah. Yeah, pictures. Sure show some pictures. Put them on the fucking website.
Get to the emails. Go.
This is from Jason Uhas.
Okay.
He says, how do you feel about the NJ trout stocking program and how could it be improved in a perfect case scenario?
Wow. Well, obviously, people do want to see brown trout added back into the roster. Brook trout probably will never be because the state wants to preserve the wild brook trout fishery, and when you stock over that, you can ruin the genetics. I would like to see. Perfect world. I would like to see, as long as we're just stocking rainbow trout, that it's catch and release for other species except for rainbow trout, with the exception of lake trout as well. In the lakes and all that. But in areas where there's good populations of wild brown trout, I'd like to see those fish released. That's me personally. Obviously they do have limited harvest and things like that to account for those things. But I'd like to see them stock brown trout in certain areas, but not in others. I think it has to be a river by river approach so that you preserve the wild genetics. There's some rivers that aren't going to produce really any wild trout, or if they do, it's very, very minimal. And those, go crazy. But there's a lot to be said for preserving the genetics of certain wild trout streams and not putting stocked browns over wild trout populations.
Gotcha.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And they could throw a couple landlocked salmon in the river too.
Why not?
Why not,
yeah,
right?
Keep dreaming.
Why not? Why throw some landlocks in the river? Come on. He also asked, this is from Jason Uhas also. What do you feel most average trout anglers could do to increase either their catch or their skill level?
Well, think outside of the box and don't constantly do the same thing over and over again. Experiment with different lures and different conditions. Spend time on the water. See what fish react to in different conditions, because fish are creatures of habit. They're not. I don't think any species of fish is really intensely intelligent. They react to the same conditions time and time again. So once you figure out what works in whatever particular condition you're fishing in, because remember, I mean, there's the ideal conditions that I'd like to see a river in, but guess what? I mean, when you work 5 days a week and you have the weekend or the afternoons for your quick trips after work when there's enough sunlight, or before work, you got to fish the conditions that are there. And rather than seeing, conditions that you don't like and saying, I'm going to hang it up, I'm not going to try today, go out there, experiment, explore, see what works. Because when it's really about how you catch on the tougher days. The days where they're crushing everything and they're jumping in the net, those aren't the days you'll learn anything. The days you learn are when it's very difficult and you figure out exactly what to present at that point. I mean, I'd fish in the middle of winter when I had to break ice from the creeks. That's certainly not, what I would consider optimal conditions. Super low water. I don't like those conditions, but you still, if you have the time to fish, go out there and give it a shot. First of all, as anything with fishing goes, at any point you could catch a monster fish, even when even when the equation per se doesn't add up. You never know. But the tough days are when you really, really learn, what to do. And once you do learn how to catch fish on the tough days, and the easy days are the easy days, then guess what? It really doesn't matter what the conditions are going to be. You look at your list of rivers that you fish, you pick the one that you think has the best conditions for the day, and you give it a shot.
Yeah, that's well said. I mean, basically, you got to suffer for the fish. Joe said it last time too.
Ryan Kronk says to please ask Justin if he has time on the podcast to please talk about some pike fishing strategies, because Justin's pike fishing pictures are also fairly impressive.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Pike, I did a lot of my pike fishing. Actually, a lot is an understatement. I did pretty much all my pike fishing on the Passaic River, and it becomes the same thing. It's about putting in the footwork and learning. River fishing is all about the conditions, and for certain fish, certain conditions are great, but they might not be good for another species. And a lot of the same thing I found with pike. It was about putting in the footwork. I mean, there isn't going to be a giant pike or a nice fish every 20 feet. You explore the river and you'll begin to figure out what areas they tend to gravitate to, where they tend to hang out, and what conditions really produce well for those fish. I love to use, for the pike. I mean, one of my go-to lures is a Rapala husky jerk. Spinner baits also work great. And for them, it's about covering water. It's about just working your way down and making as many casts as possible and hoping to get that in front of a big fish, because the Passaic itself has so much structure in it, that it can be less predictable of where you find really big fish time and time again than trout fishing.
Right. So a lot of times you're talking about the river conditions, and like an extreme in one way or the other is probably usually not going to be good, like you said. But you just never know. You just never know. That's all. You could just everything you say about fishing, you could just end it with you just never know.
Yeah, and again, one little tidbit: I don't like to fish the Passaic when it's flooded. When it's super high and flooded, I haven't done. In general, you don't do that great. However, you will find spots that produce in those conditions, and those spots will produce time and time again in those conditions. So it's about, about filling up your logbook with spots that work in various conditions, and then knowing that whatever whatever the weather gods throw at you for that particular weekend, you're going to have something up your sleeve.
All right, man. Awesome. Great. Awesome interview. When are you coming up here to fish with us next?
I'm going to try to shoot up there early May, take a couple of days off and do a complete trout weekend. So I will definitely keep you posted.
That'd be awesome.
I plan on having his car GPSed at that point, and we're going to kidnap one of his cats, and we're going to blackmail some information out of him, hopefully by that time.
Justin, want to plug anything before you go? Your music, anything?
Well, yeah, I mean, on Instagram, it's Justin_Lerner_fishing. Same handle on TikTok. I've started actually creating videos and building content. I've filmed tons of stuff over the years, never did anything with it. I'm soon going to be building out a YouTube page. You can check me out, friend me, Justin Lerner, on Facebook. And feel free to reach out with any questions.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate it so much, Justin.
Thanks, guys. It was a great time. Thanks so much.
Thanks for coming on, bud. I'll be down in Florida in a couple of weeks to see and fish with you.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yep. We'll be putting you on some snook, tarpon, peacocks, exotics, all kinds of stuff.
Can't wait, man.
Awesome.
See you, man.
All right, take care, buddy.
Take care, guys.
So that'll be awesome if he comes home in May in the dead of trout season, and maybe I could find. I've been fishing probably at least 10 times in a boat within a 10-foot proximity of Justin Lerner. Like, we're fishing right next to each other, but I've never actually fished with him.
Oh, really?
I've never actually fished with him. We've been like in groups together on separate boats, but never just me and him. No, never.
No, I didn't realize that. No, yeah, me and him met quite a few years back on NJ Fishing Forum, and I think I believe he wanted to muskie fish. I was doing pretty well with muskie at the time, and I believe he had never caught one, or maybe I couldn't believe he didn't catch one at that point, or he hadn't caught a big one. Either way, we got to talking, and I said, "You want to go muskie? I mean, let's go. You can call. I don't, Any normal person that talks to me and doesn't seem like a psychopath, you come fishing. I don't care."
And you said something. A lot of people bust his chops about the way he holds fish.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like a pet peeve of mine. I mean, so you've seen it before. I've seen it from other people other than him, but he catches a nice fish. He's by himself. He sets up his selfie. He takes a nice picture of the fish. He's holding the fish, right?
He's perfected it. He is good at that. No denying it. He's good at that.
I could see if someone is, I've seen a lot of people do it. Hold the fish out. It's like, oh, look at the fish. And then they claim, I caught a state record, but I didn't measure it or take any pictures of it other than this one where like their fingers are the size of the fish in front of it like this. And okay, I could that's annoying. But he's not making any claim. This guy measures his fish. How big was his the brown trout he won Skillful Angler Award with last year?
30 inches.
That fish was measured with a photograph. It was that big.
He measures all his fish. He measures all his fish mostly.
If he doesn't, look, I fished with him a long time. If he doesn't measure his fish, he's going to say, I didn't measure it. And he'll give you a guess if you want to know. That was probably about this, that. It might be an inch or two off in one direction or the other, but he's just estimating. You wanted to know. All right. So anyway, getting back to, so if someone's taking a picture of a fish, I don't want to see the guy's ugly ass face. I want to see the fish. So if you're holding the fish out towards the camera so you get a nice picture of the fish and I can see the beautiful fish, who gives a shit?
I agree.
What does it matter?
You're right.
And guys just have this hard-on for just giving people
They
a hard
do.
time about holding the fish. It's crazy. Get a life.
Oh, God.
Get a life.
Well, why don't you tell everyone what we did the other day for the final day of trout season, where the
I'm
river.
allowed to talk about this?
Why not? The rivers are now closed. There was the what was it, Sunday? The Monday morning.
Sunday was the last day you could fish.
Yeah.
Sunday. Well, let me be clear. Sunday is the last day you could fish in streams that are stocked.
Yeah,
trout.
TCA. You have to look in the book, but you could still fish in certain TCAs, and there's plenty of places to still fish. But the main, very popular trout stocked waters, they're closed now till opening day because the state's going to start stocking them. So me and Chris decided to go out for the last day, and we wanted to have a little contest. So we actually went to a neutral river that either one of us have not fished in a long time. Go ahead. We'll let Chris tell the story. He can bask in his glory.
I mean, look, I'm not gonna drive you in the ground. It was one little time, but it's let's just put it this way. It's 1-0 spin fishing versus fly fishing. Spin fishing is up 1-0.
So we went to the river. I used flies only. He brought his spin rod. We were in an artificial only part of this river. And how many fish did you catch? 2?
Well, I mean,
I got one on video.
Yeah, so the conditions were definitely not favorable. I mean, the water was low, it was clear. I mean, definitely not optimal fishing conditions for trout for sure on this river. And but we gave it a go anyway, and we caught some fish. I had 3 fish hooked up. The two nicest ones, of course, came off, unfortunately. But Joe, I think you had 1 fish on, or we're not sure if it was a stick.
I had 1 fish on, and that 1 fish he was on within 20 yards of the truck, and then for the entire rest of the walk, I caught nothing.
Now, I believe that fish was actually a stick with a leaf attached to it.
I have it on video.
Joe,
I have it on video.
Right, you keep saying that. Right, you keep saying that, but the video's, where is it? It's gone.
I will upload. You want me to upload a video of me losing a rainbow trout? I saw it.
Yeah.
I'll upload it then. I'll upload it.
You know what? It's fine because even with that 1 fish, I mean, fly fishing still fell to spin fishing this day.
I will admit defeat for this one day. It was horrible, but I will also say that he took me to slow slack water, which is where people fish streamers, and I hate fishing with streamers. I like to fish moving water with nymphs.
I didn't take you anywhere. I was following you. The 3 fish I caught, you missed.
No, you weren't following me. I said, let's go back to the truck, and you said, let's not leave. No, it was just it's a general parking lot, and you walk in all directions. No one's following anyone.
Eventually, we left. We went to faster water, and how did that turn out?
It didn't turn out at all. It was horrible. It was just, I don't want to mention the specific river, but that specific river, there just seems to be something not right with it anymore. Because it used to be one of the best, and the last few times I've been there, it's been so disappointing. I don't know why, and it's just so far away. I'm getting tired of going there at all. I'm about to cross it off the list.
Maybe you're right. Maybe something did happen. I've seen a lot of places go under for one reason or another. Some kind of environmental reason or whatever. But
well, this place apparently has an environmental problem that the state's aware of. That river, they already know it has a massive bird of prey problem on it, and a lot of the trout are just getting eaten. It's not holding.
No, I don't know what the solution to that is other than...
You saw how low and clear it was. They could be picked off like nothing.
Yeah, I didn't particularly see any birds around, but if there were, it would have been easy pickings for sure.
Yeah. Well, we have any other news to talk about?
You know what? We've got so Lake Hopatcong Guide Service and Aaron Graybill. We came to an agreement where basically, he liked the podcast so much. We're definitely going to have him on in a later episode, but he's basically gonna give us a Lake Hopatcong Guide Service fishing report. We're going to try to get this weekly. We're going to try to get it to you through the podcast on a weekly basis every episode. And, this is New Jersey's biggest lake. It's one of the most popular lakes to fish. It's got a lot of the species that the state has to offer. You can fish for just about anything except for, lake trout, landlocked salmon, and northern pike. I'm pretty sure those are the only ones that are void in there. But even the trout are just the stock trout. So you're basically getting the state stocked rainbows. But they did I believe the Knee Deep Club started a brown trout stocking program to see how they could get how the brown trout hold over in there.
Didn't a state record trout come from Lake Hopatcong? The rainbow?
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure, but I definitely believe it. It would have been a stocked fish, so it would have been stocked probably whatever size it was. I'm
pretty sure that I think the state record rainbow trout is from Lake Hopatcong. I think, or I'm gonna just be an idiot again, like the bowfin thing. But I'm gonna throw that out there.
Unfortunately for you, I'm not 100% sure the answer to that either, so I'm not going to embarrass you right here and now.
All right. Well, it's floating out there. I'm sure Dwayne will be researching it immediately to look it up if he's done gluing his waders back together.
Oh, well.
But what's up with Dwayne? And he seems to just have completely vanished off the map. Every time I call him, he's miserable. He doesn't want to do anything.
I think he's just avoiding you.
He's complaining about the wind. Is that what is he out fishing everywhere and he's just got me blocked or something? And
Maybe.
All right. That makes more sense than what's going on with him.
I think he just doesn't want you to try to get him to repair your waders for free. Anyway, so we got this Lake Hopatcong Guide Service fishing report from Aaron Graybill, and it's going to be a real awesome tool, I think, that we can share with you weekly. He's out there every day, and he's going to have these week by week up to date fishing reports. And even the cool part is even if you're not specifically going to fish Lake Hopatcong, you can kind of use what you get in this report as a template for other places around the state. So if you've got another big lake around the same temperature, you may be able to use parts of this report to start, getting better at catching fish in whatever particular lake you're going to fish, right? If you're in a smaller lake, the water temperature's a little warmer than the water temperatures in Lake Hopatcong, you're basically going to be a little bit ahead of some of the things you're going to hear in the report, and vice versa.
I agree.
But to me, it's a good template. It's a good starting point as a tool to use for fishing, really, in a lot of different lakes.
So when do we get to hear it? Do we get to hear it, or are we just going to talk about it the whole time?
I was just waiting for you to say that right there, and now I'm going to do it.
Let's hear this fucking thing.
So basically, Aaron's reporting that the water on Lake Hopatcong has come up. The water level has come up, which is good. Okay, because they lower that every winter, I believe. I believe every 5 winters it gets lowered even more than usual for people to repair their docks and whatnot. This water level is back up, okay, but it's not full yet, which basically means from a safety standpoint, if you're driving a boat around there and you're not that familiar with the lake, you need to be careful because there's going to be some shallow areas with rocks and whatnot. All right. You don't want to go bottom out your motor on any rocks or anything, because just keep in mind, buoys are not going to be in the right spot exactly. The water level is not where it's going to be. It's still down a little bit. Excuse me, it's still down a little bit.
The other thing you have to remember too, though, is because I know it's horrible that we didn't have ice fishing season. It's just disgusting, but because we didn't have ice fishing season, we're now going to probably have an amazing pan fishing season, because all those fish that are normally getting ripped up through the ice on all these lakes, they've pretty much been untouched all winter now. So that is one benefit I've seen to when you don't get an ice fishing season. The panfish season usually is amazing. So I would imagine
it is.
It's going to get pretty crazy by Graybill any day. Like, it's going to get insane.
He's already doing. I mean, it's happening now.
I saw a picture of them all
and it's happening.
Fish. They were all holding fish. Scott Howard had an unbelievable muskie. Now, you see that muskie?
Yeah, you're just going to go off topic now? I'm not done reading the report.
I didn't know. I thought they're okay. Continue. I'm so amazed by Scott Howard's muskie. I'm still thinking about it, but go ahead. Let's
just sit on your piano bench and rest behind your robot ball sack there, and just take a breath.
Okay.
All right. So we got so the main. He gave us the water temperatures on the main lake there, sitting around 39 degrees, and the shallower areas are up into the mid 40s, right? And like I said, he's been banging on these panfish already pretty good. Like if you like that spring panfish bite, it's happening, right? And like I said, just it's happening on Lake Hopatcong. That means it's happening at your favorite pond, your favorite small lake, any of those spots that you like to go to after work, or you don't need a boat, you just hit it from shore. Like, it's worth checking out. You're going to want to get out there, right?
I was looking. I was looking at the Facebook memories from last year, and it looks like the first date that me and you, like, I see a boat full of crappies was April 4th. So I guess this year it's going off a little earlier.
Oh yeah, I mean, for the reason that you just said, for sure.
So basically, it's ice out crappie season without the ice.
Basically, I mean, the water temperatures came up quicker. I mean, it's never gonna be helpful. You get this really cold night, really cold day, really cold rain. So it's never gonna help you really. But they're still there. It's not, it's not that it's not worth going after them. They're there for sure.
But if Aaron said he's already finding water in the mid 40s, that's pretty warm. I haven't seen anything in the mid 40s yet myself. I haven't been on a pack-on, though. But everywhere I've seen, I've been around 41, 42. No, mid 40s.
I mean, a lot of times if you get on that right side of the lake where the sun angle is really pounding down, and you've got a hard rocky bottom, a dark bottom, sand bottom, something like that, something that's absorbing the sun, and you'd be surprised to raise that water temp up a couple degrees, even 1 or 2 degrees. That'll make a huge difference.
Yeah. And again, just while we're reading his report, just total thank you to him. I mean, the support.
Oh yeah, this is awesome.
The support from him and all of the guys that work from him was just unbelievable, and we're very grateful for it.
Yeah, this is awesome. I mean, they're out there every day. This is, you can't beat, helpful information like this. You just can't. So anyway, getting away from the panfish, he's been starting to do all right with walleye too, and he's talking about he's got two separate walleye bites. He's got a deep water walleye bite using vertical approaches. That typical late winter bite. I mean, he's still seeing walleye in that mode there.
Season closed on walleye now, right?
Walleye season.
I know it. I know opening day is May 1st. I just don't know when it closes.
You caught me off guard because I haven't been fishing for walleye to keep, but
you're not supposed to be catching them while they're spawning. That's the whole point of the close season. So I think it's all of April and maybe a little of March. It's probably closed right now. I might be wrong.
Well, they don't want you keeping them during that time because then you're taking eggs out of the, I don't even think they're really sure how successfully they are spawning in places like Lake Hopatcong. But they are doing it to some success, and
they're hard to get them to hit though. And I mean, I've been out there with a spot.
Well, here's the thing when you're talking about spawning fish, and if they're aggressively hitting your lure, they're not actively spawning. They're feeding to spawn. So as long as you know what you're doing when it comes to quickly releasing a fish, you're not gonna do any damage in that aspect.
Yeah, but I don't even think once they start spawning, they don't. I've been out there with a spotlight up in the shallows when they're spawning, and you could look down and see, they're everywhere, but they won't bite. They're inactive.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. When they get to that point, you're not going to catch them. Probably you're going to have to snag them, which is just messed up.
Well, that's illegal.
Right. It's illegal and it's messed up.
So what else does he say there? Because I saw Kevin Cool had a huge hybrid that he looked like he was out in deeper water. So they're catching hybrids too.
Yeah, so they're he sent me that report too. So they're actually marking nice sized schools of hybrid striped bass in the deeper water. And he basically is talking about if they mark one or two fish, they're not targeting those fish because there are just massive schools of hybrid stripers out there, and that's what they're looking for. And once they find them, they're saying that they're pretty aggressively feeding at times.
And that's it?
I mean, that's the end of the report pretty much. But, I mean, look, if you like hybrid striped bass, to catch them this early in the season is pretty cool because they can be fairly difficult to catch at this point, in my opinion. But if you can mark these giant schools of fish, I mean, you've got a chance. If you got the electronics on your boat, and hey, I mean, if you don't have a boat and you want to fish, give them a call. I mean, like I said last time, he's a friend of ours. Like we fish with him sometimes. When I fish with him, it's like I'm learning something new every time. Like, if I didn't know him, even though I know how to fish and I know how to fish Lake Hopatcong, I would benefit from going out and paying and going out on his boat and fishing with him.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. It'll blow your mind. So you'll learn something every time.
He does do some weird stuff. And he hates chicken livers. I love chicken livers. He hates chicken livers.
Yeah, well, you like a lot of weird stuff.
You love chicken livers too. He refuses to use chicken livers. He always puts giant stripers on the boat anyway. He says he doesn't want to touch them.
Oh,
He hates the look at them, and he just doesn't use them.
yeah, well, put a glove on.
He does it
I
without.
mean, if you don't need to, then you don't. I mean, it's just one of those cool bites.
It is. It is really cool. Can we talk about Scott Howard's muskie now?
Go ahead. You want to talk about muskie?
I just want to say how unbelievable it was. I thought it was an amazing fish. I was very impressed with it.
It was an awesome fish. Did he give you permission to talk about it?
No, he didn't. Not one bit. So I don't know if he's going to sue us now or something. But if anyone wants to go on Facebook and check out Scott Howard on Instagram or Facebook, he caught one hell of a muskie. Actually, if he gives us permission or if he ever talks to me again, maybe I'll put a picture of it up. He might not.
It was.
I don't know. Who knows?
It was an awesome fish. Yeah.
It is.
An awesome fish.
It is an unbelievable fish. And I saw. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that he was walleye fishing. He wasn't muskie fishing. He was walleye fishing, and that actually it happens all the time. Although I have never ever caught a muskie by accident. I feel like everyone else in the world has caught a muskie by accident.
It's hilarious you say that because I never have either. And I've caught them on purpose. And people I've had on my boat with me that weren't muskie fishing, they were like, I'm just going to come with you and throw bass lures while you muskie fish. They catch a muskie. Yeah, oh yeah.
I believe it.
More muskies get caught on accident than but I didn't know that, and I didn't release that information over the air. So, Scott, have your lawyer now could talk to Chris because he just broadcast that you caught it on accident. So he ruined it for me now.
Oh, who cares?
No one cares. That fish was incredible, especially from that place. It's even more incredible.
Yeah, and the lighter line, the lighter gear he was using, it's awesome. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
I love seeing that stuff.
Yeah. And I like the picture too. It's just a nice picture. When I saw it online, I was just really impressed. I said, "Holy shit, man!" I know that guy. Scott, he puts a lot of effort in. He fishes hard, you know. So every once in a while, he gets paid off.
Oh yeah, sure.
But he deserves it.
I mean, of course. Yeah, and I love seeing nice New Jersey fish. I don't care. Like it gets me pumped up and that's why I post my pictures of nice fish. Like I hope someone's gonna look at it. I hope they're gonna get pumped up and go do some fishing. Like that's it. That's the way it works. That's the good part of social media, right? You get to see these fish, you get to see what's out there, get amped up. Maybe I can catch one like that next time I go out. Maybe, or I've never caught one like that. I got to try something different. I got to try something new, right? Like I said last time, it's not to try to just be handed information, be handed what to do next, what to do, how to do it, where it doesn't matter. You got to just get out there and get amped up on people's fish. That's fine. Like these guys that just want to know, where was he? Where was that? Where is it? It doesn't matter. Who cares? It's in New Jersey. There's nice fish. There's all kinds of nice fish in all these different lakes and stuff. Like just get out there and go for it.
You got to put the time in.
Yeah.
And learn as much as possible. But one thing I want to say, just before we go, if everybody could please remember to just hit the subscribe button on YouTube and hit that like button on Facebook. Those are the two things that help us the most: YouTube subscribe and the Facebook like.
We're gonna try to buy Joe a new hat.
Yes, I'm gonna get a new hat, and we don't want to keep having everyone viewing the pictures on our own personal wall. Our pictures and stuff are going to be posted through the social media from the podcast. So if you don't like the Facebook page, you're not going to see the post.
Yeah, and if I could just add one more thing,
And if you don't subscribe to the YouTube channel, we're going to go out of business. Go ahead.
So what I was going to say, I just wanted to add, we want this podcast to have almost a forum type feel to it. We want you guys to get involved. We had a couple of people email questions in. We want you guys to be involved in some way. So email us at njmultispecies@gmail.com.
We got an email from Thomas Wyatt, who was a guy. He's the guy that caught he has the leaderboard skillful angler perch. He must have listened to the podcast and he heard me mention his name, and I got an email from him. He was going to come on here tonight to talk for a few minutes just about how he caught the perch, and but something happened to his boat and he got caught up. But he said, if he's still on the leaderboard in the future, he's going to pop on.
Yeah, pop on. We could have guys pop on. If there's something you guys want us to talk about that we skipped over or glossed over a little bit, you want to hear more details about something we skipped completely, let us know. Like, we're trying to make this an environment where everyone's kind of involved, even though at this point you can't call in live. Send us an email there, or even send us a message on the Instagram page or the Facebook page or whatever. Reach out in some way if you want and get involved. It's more than welcomed.
The podcast is totally open to everyone fishing in New Jersey. We're open to anyone. If you have anything you want to email or talk about, you want to plug something, we don't care. This is an open forum type podcast. That's what we want it to become. And our YouTube, we want to actually grow our YouTube channel, and I'm going to soon start loading the YouTube channel with other content, review videos of certain products and gear, and then of course there's going to be the fishing videos. There's already a fishing video on there of me reeling in a nice striper while Chris's head is stuck to a fishing pole. That has 200 something views already. I think it's phenomenal phenomenal filming job. We have the one podcast video, and we have TikTok and Instagram, and we have all kinds of new stuff. We're learning how to use it all, and we got a little overwhelmed with week 1, but we're staying on top of it, and we're going to try to keep this rolling. But you guys got to hit the subscribe button, or we're going to quit. No more.
You're at the point of you're begging now.
Yeah, you're right. I might stay around even without the subscribe button. But yeah, I'd hit the subscribe button. Everybody, we'll see you next week. Bro. Thank you so much.
Next time, Take care.